Hi, I'm Heather from Heather Handmade, and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to share my latest sewing project. This is a zipper pouch using clear vinyl. So you make the zipper pouch, but then you can actually see what's inside. This is great for organizing. You can keep it in a purse or a bag and see what's inside. You can organize things within your desk or like for games. I love zipper pouch projects. I used to be afraid of sewing zippers, and then I practiced a lot, and now I make zipper pouches all the time. This one is a little bit trickier just because you are using clear vinyl, and clear vinyl, it's just like a different technique to know how to sew it. There is a free pattern for this pouch on my blog. You can find the link in the description, but let's get started. For this project, you're going to need some scraps of quilting cotton. You are going to need a zipper. There is a guide in the pattern that has the length that you will need. It shows where the zipper, like the top and the bottom of the zipper are, and how big the actual zipper needs to be. You will need the free pattern for the clear zipper pouch, which you can get in my blog. It's the link is in the description. You're going to need some clear vinyl, and you need the size that is a 10 gauge. That's a size that is still like strong and sturdy, but not too thick or too hard to sew for your sewing machine. And then lastly, you will need some fusible interfacing. So as you can see, so I've cut two pieces that are like bigger than my pattern piece, but they are super wrinkly. I don't know if you can see all of that light reflecting off of it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to iron this on the lowest setting, and I'm going to use no seam or no steam. And I'm going to put a piece of fabric like my press cloth on top so that the iron is not right on the vinyl. And I'm going to see if I can flatten out these wrinkles a little bit. Now I'm going to use the pattern piece to cut out two of the vinyl pieces. Now we're going to cut out the fabric. I'm going to use the same fabric for the inner fabric and the outer fabric. So I'm going to cut 4 pieces of fabric from this quilting cotton. Then I'm going to cut 2 of the zipper tabs. And then I'm going to cut 2 pieces of interfacing from the upper bag piece. Now I'm going to take 2 of these fabric pieces and fuse the interfacing to the back of these pieces. So now we're going to prepare the zipper. So I'm going to line it up with the zipper guide. I'm going to trim it where it needs to be cut on the other side. Now I'm going to put the zipper tabs on the end. So the zipper tab is a little bit, it's probably much wider than you'll need it to be, but then it will work with really wide zippers. So first you're going to place it here on the end. So the long side is matching up with the long side of the zipper. And since this side is like the open side of the zipper, you're going to have to pin it so it keeps that zipper closed. So I'm pinning this end here. Once I have sewn this with a 1/2 inch, I'm going to trim the excess over here, and then I'm going to do the same to the other side. So now I'm going to cut this fabric that is too wide. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take this fabric, you're going to fold it away from the zipper, you're going to fold this raw edge in to meet the end of the zipper, and then fold it over like this so that the end of the zipper is completely covered. So I'm going to pin this in place. Now when I go to sew it, I'm going to sew right along this fold to do stitch in the ditch to secure this back fabric and to keep all of the fabric in place. And let's do the same to the other side. Now you're going to take your two vinyl pieces and place them on top of each other. There's no right and wrong side. We're going to clip the layers together. You cannot use a pin because it would put a hole in your vinyl that doesn't go away. And we're going to sew around 3 sides, leave one long edge open with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and backstitch when you start and when you stop. Now take some scissors and we are going to just kind of trim this corner so that there will be less bulk when we turn it right side out. Now you're going to turn this pouch right side out. Now take, this is an interface side and it's going to be the right side of the fabric. Leave your zipper pull in the middle. So you're going to place your interface fabric right side together with the zipper and make sure it's centered. So there should be 1 inch on each side. And then you're going to take an uninterfaced piece for the lining and put it in the same place so that the zipper is sandwiched in the middle. Now we're going to sew this seam with a 1/2 inch seam allowance and a zipper foot. If your zipper is a little bit smaller and you have a smaller zipper tape, you could do a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You just want to have that seam close to the zipper while using a zipper foot. Now that I've sewed that seam and I've pressed both of these fabrics away from the zipper, I'm going to edge stitch along this fold to secure both of the fabrics so they don't get caught in the zipper. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing with the other pieces on the other side of the zipper. So the next thing we're going to do is to sew the sides, but before we do that, this isn't how you sew it, but we're just going to check the width to see if anything's stretched out. So if I put this vinyl here on the side, it looks like it is still a 1/2 inch seam allowance on each side. So that's perfect. That means it will match up on that step. But what we do to sew these sides together, we want to have the seams enclosed. So you're going to match up right sides together. So this is the right side of the zipper. So you're going to match these up. Then you're going to match up the lining pieces, and you want, see how this is a seam allowance that's poking up like this. In the end, we want it to be pointing up like this way. So you want these seam allowances to come down towards the lining. So clip that in place. Now we're going to sew each side with a 1/2 inch seam allowance and backstitch when you start and when you stop. Once this is sewn, we're going to turn it right side out with the lining on the inside. So here is the top of the bag. You can see that the lining is there. There is no raw seams down in here. And we are going to sew the bottom of the bag onto the top. So we're actually going to pull the fabrics apart. We're going to, this is the right side because it is interfaced. We're going to place the bottom part of the pouch inside. We're going to match up the side seams and clip these 2 layers together. Now I'm going to go around and sew this seam with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So this seam allowance that we just sewed is going to be pointing up towards the zipper. Then you're going to take this lining and fold it down like this. So what you're going to do is you're going to tuck this fabric under 1/2 inch and place it right here. You want it to just go past this row of stitching so that on the other side, this is going to be the right side. We're going to do an edge stitch right along this edge and it will secure that fabric underneath. I am not going to pin because I'm worried about pinning through this vinyl. You can glue it if you want with just some washable glue. That works really well to hold it in place. I'm just going to do it by hand and fold it under as I sew. You're going to have to put it in your sewing machine like this with the arm sticking in through here so that you can get around the bag in that hole. Once you have that lining sewn in place, you are finished and you have a great clear bag that you can store stuff in, but you can see what's there at the bottom. And that's how you make a zipper pouch with clear vinyl. This is such a great fun sewing project. Check out these other playlists that have free sewing pattern videos and beginner sewing projects. I can't wait to see all of the zipper pouches that you make. Please share them with me on social media, and I hope you have a wonderful day.